Hello everybody, welcome to the table. Today we are here to make some comparisons between these knives we have. These are all from Ozark Trail, and so you might remember from about a year ago, we had this knife right here. This was kind of the darling of YouTube at the time. So this was their first knife from Ozark Trail that featured a facsimile, a copy of the Axis Lock. And so Ozark Trail calls it their Shaft Lock, so I'll try to refer to it as that in this video. But this one was very highly praised, very well renowned last year around this time. And I want to compare it to two newer knives that Ozark Trail, via Walmart of course, released this year. So we're going to compare these three knives together and check them out. So hope that's of interest, but let's go ahead and get started. And now this one I still have wrapped up from last year, but I do have one that I've been using and that is open. So I'm going to leave this one in the package for now. So we'll set that aside and let's go ahead and unbox these two knives, or unpack these two knives as well. So go ahead and do that. Okay, so we have these three knives on the table now, all three of them being that shaft lock style design. Of course, a slightly different look for all three, but we can look at the similarities first off. Of course, the locking mechanism is going to be the same, but we also see some improvements in these knives' designs in that we all get deep carry pocket clips. All three of them seem to vary a little bit, but we can see right here, side by side, same general idea with the deep carry clips. And I do like that this one right here kind of has that curvature to it, so it follows the curve of the handle of the blade, so that's kind of cool. We can also check out weight comparisons. So in terms of overall weight, let's go ahead and measure those. So our original green-handled knife right here from last year weighs in, we can see 3.2 ounces. Pretty lightweight for what it is. Very nice everyday carry size knife. This one right here, the black model, 2.6 ounces, even lighter in weight. So that's actually kind of impressive. And our other kind of a curvy model right here, also the same exact weight, 2.6 ounces. So that's actually pretty impressive. So we can see in terms of size, these three knives are pretty similar. So they did do some stuff to shave down on the weight. But in terms of overall size as well, let's go ahead and real quick, we will measure out the original Ozark Trail model here. Again, we have about a 3-inch blade and about 7 inches of overall length. And I think they're all about that size. They're all advertised as a 7-inch pocket knife. The blade length on this one's a little bit longer. Overall length is a hair over 7 inches, you know, including the curvature. But, you know, that's going to vary a little bit based on where you measure from. So this one right here, yeah, 7 inches overall, 3 inches. So this curvy model right here has a slightly longer blade length, but that's really, you know, not a major variance. So what we are going to compare right now is action. And now this one's kind of going to be unfair because this knife right here has been in and out of hand for over a year now. And this lock action is working pretty darn well. So it wasn't quite this smooth out of box, but it has smoothed out. So let's go ahead and try this model right here. And now this model, the black one here, does feel a little stiff, but it's also new. So it's a flipper design, so we have a flipper tab right there. So that's kind of nice. Deep carry pocket clip is going to be reversible, whereas on this older model it is not. So that's kind of a nice new feature. Thumb studs are not quite as slick, you know, but one of the things when you get a $5 knife like this, you know, there's going to be some variance from the factory in terms of how the action works, you know, how it's received. So this one's probably not a bad example of the design, but not as slick as the green one currently is. Our curvier model right over here, let's go ahead and check out that action. That's actually a lot smoother right out of the package. So again, you're going to get some variance like this when things like that happen. And in terms of materials, we can see this model right here has these plastic scales. And in fact, the plastic scales are very comparable to what we see on our original green model. They feel identical in hand, to be honest. And so that's something to note. Whereas this model right here, all these scales are advertised as polypropylene, like plastic scales, but these ones have kind of that more of a G10 style texture to them. So you can see right there, there's some texture there. and the grippiness is a little bit improved over these other models. So if that's something that matters to you, this might be the one to look for. But in terms of fit and finish, this one again is the tighter of the three. No blade play. There's a little bit of stiffness to the lock action here. You know, you can just kind of hear that. I don't know if you can hear that, but flipper action with some wrist, it does work. And again, unlocking it, a little bit of stiffness to the lock action there. Yeah, just you can kind of hear it sticks. Hear that. On this one right here, thumb stud action again works smoothly. Listening to it, very quiet to operate the action. So you can hear that. Not nearly as loud. Checking out the spine of the blades, the only one with jimping is this one right here. And the jimping is actually quite aggressive for what we have. So we can see right here on the spine where your thumb goes, that is quite aggressive. Pretty interesting, pretty nice. And these two are smooth spined knives. All three of these blades, or all three of these knives, just have solid steel liners as far as I can see. And I think it's the plastic handles that really lend to their lightweight. So that's going to be one similarity between all three of these knives. But really, for $5, I think all these are kind of a steal for what you get here. And again, it's almost like playing the lottery when you buy these knives, because they produce these things in mass quantities. So you might get one like this one here that has a really nice action out of the box. The lock is nice and smooth. No issues. Or you might get something that is a little bit tighter like this one right here. And you can hear it crunch when you're working that action. See, it doesn't really fall smooth. Yeah, it doesn't work quite as smooth. Now, could I loosen up the pivot? Probably so. I'm sure that would do something to help it out. But it also may mess up the action as well. So I'm just talking about out-of-box performance here. But really, when it comes down to it, I think any of these knives would make awesome gifts, stocking stuffer type things. Because for the price, you can't lose out. And if anyone in your life is even remotely interested in knives, these are like the perfect little gateway drug, because you get them used to this axis lock style mechanism. And then once they start thinking about knives like that, that's their gateway drug to Benchmade, to Spyderco, to Kershaw, so on and so forth. So I think we should, thank Ozark Trail here for kind of giving us this style and this design. It's great to see the evolution of a cheap pocket knife and what you can get for your money. But just like this one right here was a revolution last year when it was first released, I think these two here are going to impress just as well. I love the green color on this one. I'm going to continue to use this one. Blade steel is very inexpensive, but it does sharpen up super easily. I got a nice sharp edge on there now. I've sharpened it several times, so no issues with the blade steel on the knife. It is perfectly functional and serviceable. But if you have any questions or any comments, feel free to drop those below. Just wanted to make some quick comparisons between these three knives. Do these two knives live up to the hype of this earlier model? I think so, to be honest. And honestly, for the price, can you really go wrong? Absolutely not. So hope you all have a nice day, and I'll see you later. Bye-bye.